Hello and welcome. Before we begin, I want to make it absolutely clear, I do not like being on camera. I am just not that kind of person. This video, there's no loud music, there's no intros, there's no sponsors, there's just me and a computer. I'm just going to try and teach you one of the things that I've learned over the past few months. In this tutorial, I want to create this dynamic lighting effect using a video and a Rect light. Okay, to begin, I'm going to create a film, video, and live events project. I don't need the starter content, and I'm just going to give it a name and create. Next, I import a Metahuman via bridge, and then I'm going to drag my Metahuman into the scene and enable all the missing plugins and settings. With my project set up and the Metahuman in the scene, I want to delete everything that I don't need. And for the light source, our directional light, I'm just going to move that behind my character like so. So as you can see, it's just lighting him from behind for now. Next, we're going to need some videos to use to light our character. Now, I'm using pexels.com for the purposes of this tutorial, but if you're using it for anything else, you may want to check out the licensing. Okay, so I'm going to select videos and I'm going to search for Windows, and then there are various windows. I like this one, so I'm going to download that, find some more that I like. You do the same, just be aware that when you're choosing, if there's something like this, where it is fast moving, it's not going to look great. So try and find something that's either in slow motion or doesn't have a lot of movement. Let's proceed. I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to call this movies, and then open that up. And in this folder, I'm going to come down to media and media player. I'm going to check the box here, video output media texture asset. Click OK, and then give this a name. We'll call it Metahuman Light. Okay, then I'm going to do a quick save all. Now what we have is a media player that will play a media source. We don't have one at the moment. And a texture which has the media player attached to it. We're going to need our video next, so let's do that and just drag those in. And they should import as file media source assets. Okay, so let me just do a save all again. It's better practice to have these MP4 files within your project's folder structure so they can be included when you package, etc. Open one of these up. And as we can see, we now have our video files within the engine. I want this media player, let me open it back up, to play one of these when I hit play or simulate. In order to do this, we need to modify our level blueprint. So I'm going to go here, open level blueprint. I'm going to come down to variables and hit the plus icon and give this a name, and we'll call this light player. And then from its type, I'm going to search for media player. Here, and object reference. And then I'm going to compile again. I'm going to come over to the default value for this variable, and I'm going to assign our media player that we just created. And again, compile, save. I'm going to drag the variable into the event graph and drag off that and search for source and we want open source. At this point, you could do validation if that's what you require, but for the purposes of this tutorial, we're just going to use open source. And so we attach our media player to the target, and then event begin play to open source. It's better practice here to create a new variable and assign our source via a variable. For the purposes of this tutorial, we're not going to do that. We're going to create a static setup. So I want to use the cityscape video that I have in my project, and that's it. So compile and save and close. Next up, I want to quickly create a visual effects post-process volume and set this to unbound. You can make any changes you want here. I like to personally change bloom, and we'll change the intensity to 3. And then I like to turn off lens flare. And that's that. Next, we need to create our actual light. So we'll go to lights, Rect light. And here is our Rect light. I'm going to zero out the translation and rotation and set to movable. And then I'm going to position it in front of our Metahuman. To about -90 with the looks of this, -90. And then like so. Okay, so it's lighting our Metahuman. You can adjust the barn door angle like so, maybe to 44. It's just so the light doesn't bleed out as much. And then you can change the barn door length like so. And we'll set that to 22. Okay, so that's all great. We have a light on our Metahuman. Next, I want to create a camera, a cine camera actor. And again, I'm going to zero this out and then position it in front of our Metahuman, like so. You can place this camera wherever you want. And we'll do that for now. And then for focus settings, set to manual. And I'm going to focus in on our Metahuman. The light is a little bit bright in the scene. Don't worry about that at the moment. I may, in fact, do that now. So I'm going to click on post-process, search for exposure. And I want to do manual exposure. So I'm going to select all 3 of these. Let me show you though. So we've got metering mode. I'm going to set this to manual. Exposure compensation, I'm leaving this at 1. And apply physical camera exposure here. Then I'm going to go to the camera and do the exact same thing. Except that I'm going to adjust exposure compensation just to probably 6. Just to light out a human. You can pin your camera here by hitting this pin icon. And if we scroll down, is there anything else I need to do here? Oh yeah, obviously. I need to set the lens settings. So here, obviously, we can do the film back depending on what it is you want to do. I'm just going to leave it at digital film. I'm going to set the diaphragm count to 13. It's a little high, but that'll do. And for crop, I'm not going to do any cropping. Current focal length, let us set this to maybe 50 because we are doing a portrait. And current aperture, let's set that to 5. As you can see, it went a little bit darker. Exposure again, 7.5. Yep, there you go. Okay. There is some flicker, and during render you may get haloing, so let's deal with that now. In Unreal Engine 5.5, there is a bug. So I'm going to go to project settings, and I'm going to search for alpha. And here we've got uncheck alpha output. And This will get rid of the haloing and etc. when you're finally rendering out. I always like to do it at the start of a project so I don't forget down the line. Let us now go into cinematic mode and set our camera to the Cinecamera actor. Perfect. So this is where we are. As we can see, if we look carefully or closely into the eyes, we have our light, and we need to go to focus settings and just zoom in on the eye. There we go. Perfect. Now let's select our Rect light, and for the source texture, if you scroll down in the details panel, we're going to choose the source texture which is attached to our player. Okay, so we select that and we can hit this icon here, and there we go. We instantly, it's gone a little darker because of the quality of the image. So, but what we can do now is if we hit simulate or play, I'm going to hit simulate. The video is now playing. It's difficult to see with the city video, but we can actually open up to, there we go. So as you can see, our texture is playing the video image. We can change the city image to one of the window videos I've included in the project. So let's go back to our level blueprint and choose maybe window 1 and compile and save and close. And now if I hit play again, as you can see, there is a window in the Metahuman's eyes. I don't know if you can actually see that on YouTube. Hopefully you can. What we can do now is adjust our Rect light, because it's currently set to a source width of 64 and the height is 64. If we take a look at our window 1 video, let's open that up. It is actually 16 by 9, you see that? So it's 1080, it's probably a 4K video this, but we could do 1080p. And how we would do that is come to source width and do 1920 divided by 10. And that gives us 192. And then we can do the same for height, which is 1080p divided by 10. I'm going to set this to lumens because that's how I like to work. And what I want to do is bring the light closer to my Metahuman, like so. You see that? And what we can now do is just make adjustments and decide where we would like to place this. So it could be higher, it could be lower. I actually like it lower, like so. And then we can adjust the brightness if we want, 35 maybe. We can move it on the x-axis too, like so. I think there, and then like this. Okay. I am going to double the size of our light. Can do the same for this, multiply by 2. And then turn up the brightness. And then just, again, adjust the translation. There we go. Okay, so when I hit play, I don't know if you can see this on YouTube. See if we can turn this up a little bit. But you can see the curtain moving in the Metahuman's eye. Okay, if you do have any looping problems, you can open up your media player and select loop here. And hopefully that should loop. So again, let's do it. Here we go. And then it's just a matter of adjusting where the light is placed. Because as you can see, as I'm moving the light up and down, depending on what's in your video, it will change the temperature of the image. If you look at the skin, One moment it's cold, then it's warm, etc. And again, you can move this back and forth, side to side. Okay, so I've just been back to Pexels and I've obtained this, which is a fire. If you didn't know. And I'm going to use this video for my lighting. I need to go into my level blueprint and make sure in media source I select my file media source and compile and save. And then when I hit play, as you can see, the Metahuman is now lit by fire. We can position wherever we like. There we go. And then let's crank this up. If you remember what I said about fast moving video not being great, this is what I was talking about. We can mitigate some of this by adding a second light, maybe a point light, and zero out, make movable. And for temperature, obviously, because it's fire, let's lower this to maybe 3,500. And then hit play, and I'm going to adjust this point light. There we go. And I'm going to bring it in front of my Metahuman character, like so. And then we can obviously adjust the radius and the soft radius. There we go. And the source length maybe. And then just, I want that out of the way of the pupil itself. And I want it to light my character's face. Let me make that a little bit smaller. And then we can adjust it to be whichever color we want. I want it to be slightly colder. And then I want the brightness to go up a little. Maybe 32. No, that's too much. And then so we still get the flicker in, but it's kind of mushed in. I want to use the word mushed with the point light. And you can place that point light wherever you want. But you still get the look of the fire in the character's face. The closer it is to your character, the more erratic it would be. So if we could just pull it away, look, from the character slightly, it's not quite as bad. So obviously when it's close, it's very flickery. And so if we just pull it away in front of our character slightly, you can also obviously adjust your source width and source height to obtain what you need, like so. Anyway, if you found this tutorial helpful, please leave a like, comment, and if possible, share. If you don't mind this kind of informal tutorial, which is not overly edited, etc., then also comment about that below. If you want me to go back to properly edited videos and everything, I'll do that if I need to. But that's it for now.